everyone, and welcome back to Becoming Her Beyond Measure. My name is Ray, and today we're going to be talking about things that I no longer believe about success. This is something that I feel like is so important today, being the first day of June and the first day of the 90 Days to Become Her challenge that I'm doing, which is a challenge that basically states that for the next 90 days, I'm going to embody my dream self and I'm going to do everything that it takes to become her. Specifically, I'll have a video maybe later on this week which defines what my future self looks like. But today I really felt like coming on here and posting a video about what success looks like to me is going to be so important because there's a lot of reframes that I have decided upon in the first 6 months of the year that I feel like are super important and will help me achieve success ultimately for the next 90 days. Start off by saying if I keep looking down, I wrote notes in my creative journal, and so I'm just going to be referring to that, but I have 20 things here, so let's just get into it. So number one is the idea that you have to hustle and grind to earn success. And this is something that I feel like I was raised to believe, obviously in the Black community, and I was raised by a single mother and a single grandmother, and so like that's all that I seen. And they instilled me with beliefs like money doesn't grow on trees and you have to work hard for the things that you want and you have to hustle and grind. And I always seen them working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And so that hustle culture was definitely instilled within me. And for a long time, when it came to me within the workforce, I feel like I always naturally gravitated towards that. I would always do the most. I would always overwork. At one point in college, aside from being a full-time college student, I always had 2 and 3 jobs. And so that has been my reality for so long, up until becoming a mother, when my mindset really changed on life and I was like, this is not the way in which I want to live my life anymore. Like, this is a one-way ticket to burnout. Looking at my mother and my grandmother, they are still working that same way that they were when I was a kid. So it's not like hustling and grinding got them success. Like, I didn't see that. That wasn't my reality. They're actually doing worse off than they were before. And aside from that, like just on a financial standpoint, their mental health and physical health has also deteriorated. And so for me, that's a clear sign that, like, yeah, that's going to be me. Like, if I continue down this road, that's the result I'm going to get, and I don't like the idea of that. So I feel like letting go of that idea and understanding that while success does require effort and it does take some work, it doesn't have to take a hustle 24/7 go 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 type of mentality. There can be a great balance for me of, yes, there's things that I need to get done, but also I'm allowed to take breaks. And so what that's going to look like for me for the next 90 days is the idea of getting my things done Monday through Friday, but then Saturday and Sundays taking a rest, essentially. Not taking a complete break and pretending like I'm not in a challenge, but also allowing myself to have joy and have fun and spend time with my son and my loved ones and just do things that light me up. So, taking myself on solo dates, which will be a vlog. I intend to go to the library and get some books or just go shopping. And it doesn't have to be all go, go, go. I think that that balance is going to be really important for me. The idea that waking up at 5 a.m. it makes you more successful than everyone else. So, as I mentioned previously in another video, I'm someone who used to wake up at around 9 or 10 a.m. naturally and have just started gotten into the routine within the last month or so of waking up at 8 a.m. And due to this challenge, my goal has been 7:30 a.m. But either way, I've never really been a person that could wake up at 5 a.m. It's never been something I desired to do. It just doesn't really work well for me and my schedule as like a stay-at-home mom and just all the things that I have working with, because my son still sleeps with me, and today when I woke up at 7:30, he was up within the hour after me. And so me waking up at 5:30 doesn't really give me more time. It actually would make me be tired faster. And so I think what's most important and what a lot of people don't tell you is that um you have to do what works for you. So like I said, while me and my son are still close sleeping, waking up at 5 a.m. just doesn't work for me. But when I do wake up at 7:30 or 8 a.m., I am intentional from the moment that I wake up. I do have a somewhat morning routine that I stick to, and there is things that I do throughout my day. I time block so that I'm making the most out of my day, and so I think that there's this misunderstanding, that a misconception that you're not as productive as you if you wake up after 5 a.m., but I simply don't believe that that has to be my version of success. So number 3 is that success only matters if it's monetary. This is something that I used to believe for so long as well. Like, I don't know, I just feel like as a society, we only really pay attention to those who have financial success, or who live a certain lifestyle, that who have nice cars and who've achieved a certain level of business acumen or networking or whatever the case it is. Like, it's always seemed monetary, and for me that just doesn't ring true anymore. I think, like, going on this walk of changing my life and the spiritual awakening that I had and all of the things, I realized that the success of personal growth, such as changing your attitude, your mindset, and just like changing your whole life around, is just as important as monetary success, if not more. Like, one of the things I pride myself on is that I am not the woman today on June 1st, 2026, that I was 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. Like, no one who used to know me knows the current me. And I love that every day. Like, I'm a different person. And as much as we strive for that, or some people don't, but as much as people strive for money, I think that they also stay the same. And so for me, as someone I'm someone who prides myself on, like, growth, and real growth to me looks like actual changing. And like, I was talking to my sister the other day, and we were having the conversation about, like, I how I've actually, like, not just mentally, but you can see the change that I've made away from the idea of, like, millions being the idea of success, to now I'm just like, I want to live a humble, quiet life, and I want to be the woman that I dreamed of becoming. And the reality of that is I'm her now. Like, I'm so much more healed than I was a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago. I'm so much more peaceful. I have so many things that money can't buy, that I'm already successful. So anything I'm achieving after this point is just a bonus, essentially. But this mindset of, like, achieving the things again that money can't buy is so much better. I feel like that should be the starting point. That should be the aspiration. Um, it has just made my life a lot more easy and seamless. And I think that one thing that I want to point out that has really stuck with me is the idea that um I don't know where I heard it exactly, but it's the idea that our purpose in life is just to become the best version of ourselves, the truest version of ourselves, and to be the most authentic version of ourselves. And so, like, to me, that's what success looks like, is becoming the most authentic version of yourself, the most peaceful, the most kind, the most calm, the most healed. And of course, you could say the most paid too. But to me, like, those other things, which can be related to the fruits of the spirit, or just whatever your values are what true success looks like to me. So number 4 is you have to be visible to be valuable. And this is something specifically for me in this field of self development and coaching that I hear a lot. And I also am like really stepping away from this because I think that as someone who does want to live a quiet life and a humble life, that as I was saying with the last one, that no longer aligns for me. So there's this um idea that you have to have 100,000 followers, and you have to be posting every day, and you have to be sharing your life, and that your business has to be your personal brand if you want to be successful. And while that might be true for everyone else, that just doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't feel good to me. It doesn't feel aligned. So it's something that I'm going to step away from. I don't have to do the things that don't feel true to me. So I feel like with this one, what I wrote here is um, only if that popularity invisibly is tied to your version of success, but not always. There are people like me who are extremely successful and are not in the limelight and don't want to be in the limelight. And so, really, this goes back to defining what success looks like to you. Would I feel successful if I was having everyone watch my every move? No, that would feel very stressful to me. That would feel very, it would give me a lot of anxiety. It would feel very overwhelming. I feel that in my chest, like, as I'm thinking about that. Like, to me, that wouldn't be success, even if I had $1 million. Um, the idea that $1 million comes with the attachment of all this attention just doesn't sit well with me. So if I had $100,000 um salary but was able to live my life peacefully and quietly, that would look a lot more like success to me. Okay. And then number 5 is rest is laziness in disguise. So this one is one that I felt like was really important to talk about because as a child, my mom ascribed to this down to the letter and really instilled this into me, that if you're resting or you're sleeping or laying down and you're not doing anything and you're not always being productive, then you're lazy. And that was a term that she used with me a lot because I have always from a young age been very in tune with myself, and like if I'm tired or if I feel like laying down, I'm gonna lay down. Um, or if I don't feel like doing something, I wouldn't do it. And for her, that was lazy. And we actually had this conversation recently where I was like, "You're," I was telling her, "You're someone who doesn't like to do things, and that's okay." And she was like, "So you're saying I'm lazy?" And I was like, "No, I feel like it's good to listen to your body. If you need to rest, or if you need a day in bed, or you need a day off, rest is essential. It's not laziness, it's literally you honoring your body." And so, as someone who is a wellness coach and is really um, passionate about mind body harmony, I believe that rest and sleep are the foundations for true lasting success. Um, Sleep is the foundation of everything. I actually have a course that I'm going to be releasing at some point here in the next few months that will talk all about how sleep is the number one thing to help you live well, to live a successful life. And that'll be in my course, Live Well by Design, which I will talk about later on. And I'm just stepping away from the idea that rest equals laziness. I think that um, okay, of course, there's moderation. Like, you shouldn't be resting or laying down all the time. But I also don't want to say any should or shouldn't because I don't know anyone's circumstance. Everyone's life is different. If you are feeling the need to rest all the time, that is a sign that something is probably out of alignment within your body and that you might need to pay a little bit more attention to that. But for me, what I've decided is like I can do a task and then I'm allowed to rest. So what I do is like I said this morning, like I said in a previous video, this morning I did my 5,000 steps and I had about a 40-minute workout, and then I kind of rested. And so while that didn't look like sitting down, that looked like taking a break because my knees were starting to hurt and I felt like I needed to take some time to get some water and just slow down. So I sort of pivoted, and in a way that is rest. I'm giving my body a break from doing that hardcore exercise for this amount of time straight, and then I'm going to go back to it. And so sometimes that's just what we need to um be more successful. I think it's very common with human design, especially if you are um, a certain energy type, to really be able to step away so that you can come back with more motivation and more dedication at a time that fits better for you. And so, again, that's why rest is very important. But going into number 6, busy equals productive. Oh my gosh, I used to be the literal pillar of this in college. I had to do everything. I was a full time student with a major and and two minors at one point. Um, I worked 3 jobs. I was in 3 different clubs, and I was president of one of those clubs. Um, I was volunteering. I was doing all the things because I was like, I'm gonna keep myself busy. I don't know. And then I graduated, and like none of that really mattered. None of that really made a difference. While like it's so funny because I was looking at my transcripts as I move into a new career, and only one of my minors is even on there. I have one major on there and one minor. And yes, people look at your GPA and they want to make sure you pass the classes, but all those jobs and all those extracurriculars don't really um, make a difference in the long run. Like, yes, I can put it on my resume and it looks nice on your resume, but if you didn't actually like do anything and you were just in a bunch of different clubs just for the sake of it, and you weren't like, being president of clubs was great, but I'm saying like if I was just for the clubs that I was just an active member, that didn't really matter as much. So my philosophy now is that the two are not mutually exclusive. Sometimes being busy leads nowhere if you're not checking off the tasks that truly matter. And I think that that is really just something that's so important. And so when it comes to like any to-do list or any thing that I'm creating in my life, I want to make sure that I'm using my days to not just be busy but be productive. In fact, I don't even use the term busy because I feel like busy, it means you're really wasting your time. If you're always busy, you're probably not getting anything done. I would rather be productive for an hour and really hone in on a task. For example, like I dedicated the time to record this video in an hour versus like me, I'm busy all day doing trying to record the video. It's like busy is just an excuse to not do the work, whereas productivity is about actual execution and actual production, essentially. Like, it's in the word. And so that's the um idea that I'm getting away from now. I'm no longer just trying to be busy with my days. I'm no longer trying to be the busiest person in the room. I want to be the most productive person in the room. I want to be the person who's getting things done and then going to rest. I don't need to be working all day. I can get things done in a specific amount of time and then go move on to something new. You have to have it all figured out before you start. And I absolutely do not believe this anymore. Um, I think that you will figure it out along the way. I think that this is a idea that I specifically had when it comes to being a coach and being a YouTube. I've been wanting to start a YouTube for 3 years now, and I've gone on and off, created a few videos, and then walked away from it because I felt like I had to know how to edit. I had to have the perfect camera and everything like that. But I think the best thing that I did for myself, and specifically with this challenge, was showing up as I am and then allowing myself to learn and perfect along the way. So instead of waiting till I get a new phone, a camera, a tripod, all the things, and using those as an excuse to not work and not go after the thing, I'm just recording on my iMac or on my MacBook, sorry, and I'm using the FaceTime camera, and I am just uploading the videos. While they might not be perfect cinema quality, at least I'm getting the videos out there, which is so much more important to me than waiting if I if I had waited until I had it perfect. And so that is something that I feel like is really important. The idea of perfection can sometimes keep you stuck. And if you're someone who wants to achieve success, that doesn't really work. You don't have to know everything. You can just start where you are now, because either way there's going to be a learning curve, and so you might as well just start imperfect, because the time's going to pass anyways. So I could have waited until I afforded that, which might have been a few months down the line. But instead, I'm starting now. I'm starting imperfect, recording videos in my room, and 90 days from now, I'll at least have uploaded and gotten myself so much further, developed so much more momentum, that I that by the time I get the camera, I've already started the YouTube, and so I'm not playing catch up. I'm essentially just moving myself. I'm leveling up, and that's one thing that I think is really important. And so the next thing is, wanting a simple, quiet life means you are not ambitious enough. All of my life, I feel like I have secretly wanted a private life, wanted a low key life. My favorite videos on YouTube are the cozy videos. It is the women who are like living that soft, slow living. And once I found that, I was like, that is what I want. But I feel like from a young age, I said, like I was saying in the beginning with my upbringing, that was just not allowed. So I had always wanted to be a teacher. I had always wanted to like have a humble life and just like help the world and like all those things. And my mom was like, that's a career that's not gonna make you money. You're not allowed to do that. And again, like, this is not to shame her. I'm just saying that this is how that idea formed within me. And I'm choosing to step away from that because I think that there's nothing wrong with wanting to have a medium salary or even a low salary, low according to some salary, but to be living a life that you actually love. And so that's why it's important to me to have a private life, because that's what I desire. I don't desire, like, when I actually started to think about it, I don't desire the $1 million lifestyle where I always have to be on the go, and I have to be taking time away from my son, and I always have to be like working. And again, me and my sister were talking about this, and she was like, I was waiting for you to say that, because the idea of having $1 million business requires you to be very social and to work with a lot of people and network a lot. And that's not really your thing. You prefer to work alone, you prefer to have a small network of people. And I was like, yeah, that's true. So I wasn't even in alignment when I was having these dreams and these goals. And in reality, I don't even know that it was my dream. I feel like at some point I just thought it was what I was expected to do, and in a lot of ways it was, and so that is where that idea came from, but it wasn't truly mine. Number 9, if it isn't hard, it isn't working. So this is the idea that success takes work, similar to number 1. But what's different here is that I think that people are like, oh, I worked very hard to get here. Oh, it took a lot of work. You have to be willing to do all of this and all of that. Otherwise, you're not going to get successful. And the thing that I think is most important is that while sometimes things are hard, um, when it, so sorry, let me reframe. Sometimes things are so hard because it's not working and you are not supposed to be there, but you just continue to force it. Like, you're out of alignment and things are so hard because it's not for you. However, when it's meant to be, things may be challenging, but only for the moment, only for a season. Eventually, things will ease up. There's a thing called growing pains. Growing pains hurt. Growing pains are painful. Growing things are hard. Growing pains are hard. But once you get past those growing pains, everything eases up. And so that's the difference. It's like hard long term versus hard for a short term period. And so I'm not saying that if things are hard, run away from it. But I'm saying if it's hard for 10 years and it seemed like it's never easing up, maybe it's time to rethink what that that whatever it is that you're doing, and maybe that's not working for you. But it's okay if it's hard for 5 years. And so, again, that's just my standpoint. Some people have this idea that, like, yeah, it's hard for 10 years, but you're really doing a lot of compounding, and eventually, like, you're going to receive a breakthrough. And so, really, it's all in your standpoint and what you're working towards. But for me, I believe that what's really meant for me won't require um, a hard life. It'll require a hard season, but not a hard life. This video is already long enough. We are going to do number 10, and then we'll come back later on and do part 2. And so number 10 is that success looks the same for everyone. And what I mean by this is I had an idea that, again, success was monetary. Success was the celebrities, and those were the only people that were successful. And I wrote that society may have a perception of what success is, but it's up to each individual to decide their own metrics. So I don't want to be popular. I don't want to be famous. That's not success to me. And for the longest time, I felt like it had to be. And so, really, just stepping away from everyone else's ideas, and do what seems fulfilling to you is the most important thing. Like, if that was a way I could sum up the first 10, it's really just like defining success on your own terms. And I think that that's what my entire life is about. That's what my entire brand is about. And when I come on here, I think that that's what I'm hoping to promote to you all, is to live a life on your own terms and live fulfilled doing whatever makes you happy, whatever feels good to you. And so that's the first 10 things that I no longer believe about success. Like I said, I will come back and I will do part 2, and those will be the next 10 things.